Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to do Magnum Madness Part 9. We're getting closer and closer to crowning your favorite Magnum. And in today's video, we're going to cover the 257 Weatherby Magnum. We're going to verse it against the 65300 Weatherby Magnum. Please remember to vote below by commenting which cartridge you want to see move on to the championship. Now, before we get into the comparison, I just want to show you the history of the Magnum Madness. These were all cartridges that you guys picked, and this is the results of them. You know, the 243 faced off against the 240 Weatherby. No surprise the 243 won. And let's just move down. The 257 Weatherby demolished the 25-06 with votes. Moving down. The 6.5 PRC versus the 6.5 300 Weatherby. And as you can imagine, the Weatherby won. The 270 Winchester was against the 6.8 Western, and it beat it out. So there's something to say about that good old classic 270. Then let's move on to the other side of the bracket. The big heavy hitters, 375 H&H versus 378 Weatherby. The 375 won. The 340 Weatherby versus the 338 Win Mag. Sadly, the 338 Win Mag won. 340 is one of my favorites. This was a surpriser. The 300 Win Mag and the 300 Weatherby. The 300 Weatherby came out on top. I was a little surprised that one. The 7mm Mag versus the 28 Nosler. No surprise there. The Rem Mag won. Moving on to our Lead 8. The 300 Weatherby did beat out the Rem Mag. And the 338 Win Mag beat out the 375 H&H. This one was very close. The 6.5 300 Weatherby barely beat out the 270 Winchester in votes. And then the 257 Weatherby just demolished the 243 Winchester. So now we're down to the final four. And in today's video, it's the 257 Weatherby and the 6.5 300. And then the next video will be the 300 Weatherby versus 338 Win Mag. The 257 Weatherby Mag, introduced in 1944. It is Roy Weatherby's favorite cartridge, who is the founder of Weatherby. And, you know, I've done a lot of these histories with this cartridge, and same with the 6.5 300, so I'm going to make it real quick. I just want to show you the bullet selection with this is, you know, it's shooting 85 grain bullet all the way up to, let's see, a 120 grain. Right now, the 257 calibers are a little limited just because they don't have faster twist rate barrels. So I'm hoping that Weatherby, you know, changes that, maybe puts a 1-in-8 twist in the 257 Weatherby so you can shoot 130 plus grain bullets. It would modernize it a bit, and yeah, that would be pretty cool to see. And the bullet that we're going to use today in our comparison is a 110 AccuBond. And when you hand load it, it's going to go almost 3,500 feet per second. Let's just look at the Weatherby website about the 6.5 300 Weatherby. Again, this will be a short and condensed little history. It was introduced in 2016. You know, the reason they did it was because they saw just how much people love the 6.5 caliber bullets and how accurate they are, and they just wanted the fastest. So as they say, it led to the development of an unmatched velocity in a 6.5 cartridge, which led to this behemoth of a cartridge. Even though it's been 7 years, there really isn't a lot of loading data for the 6.5 300. Here are the factory options, and as you can see, this cartridge is moving high BC bullets ridiculously fast. Popular in 127 grain LRX at 3,500. The bullet we're going to look at today, the 130 grain Sirocco at 3,476. The Ballistics for the 257 Weatherby Magnum, it's actually closer than you would think against the 6.5 300. No doubt the 6.5 300 is faster and has more energy and is a little bit flatter, but it's actually pretty close. All right, we're just going to use factory ammo for both. This is a 110 grain AccuBond going 3,460 feet per second, and check out that energy, over 2,900 foot-pounds of energy. Recoil is not bad. You know, 19 still quite a bit. You're really close to basically 30-06 recoil. Now, out to normal hunting distances, this is what I really want to focus on. Is if you guys have seen my top 5 flattest shooting cartridges, both of these cartridges were on the list and they do amazing at 1,000 yards. But you know, the 6x300 really pulled away out at 1,000. But when you just go to 400 yards, practical hunting distances, it's really close. Okay, so the velocity 2,500 feet per second, and the energy 1,500 foot-pounds of energy. And then check out the drop. At 400 yards, you have 18 inches of drop when you zeroed at 100. This thing is ridiculously flat. Now onto the 6.5300 Weatherby with the 130 grain Sirocco bullet. This is also factory ammo. A muzzle velocity of 3,476 feet per second, so it's going even faster with a higher BC bullet. And the energy is 3487, so it has about a 500 foot-pound advantage, and it's going to kick a little bit more. Recoil, it could kick more than 21. It probably does. It's a big case, but let's just go ahead and see out to 400 yards. It's going about 200 feet per second faster and has about 600 more foot-pounds of energy. So that really high BC bullet takes advantage. But check out the drop. 16.37 inches, which is ridiculous. But if you remember, the 257 Weatherby only had 18 inches of drop. So not a huge difference when it comes to drop between these two. Let's just look at the difference with the case sizes. So on my left is the 257 Weatherby. On my right is a 300 Weatherby. I think there's a bit of a misconception that most of the Weatherbys are using the 300 Weatherby case, especially like the 257 through the 7mm, when that's actually not the case. It's just a little bit shorter, same case dimensions width-wise, but obviously shortened a bit. Now the 257 through the 7mm Weatherby all share the same case. As for the 300 Weatherby, there's only a handful that actually share the case. So obviously the 6x300, the 300, the 340 Weatherby, and lastly the 375 Weatherby. So here's the difference. One's just a bit longer. To end the video, I just wanted to go over some of the pros and cons for each of these cartridges. I made a list of things that are kind of important to me and maybe important to you. So let's just go over it. Power-wise, both of these are extremely powerful, sending small bullets at ridiculous velocities, but the 6.5300 takes the cake. It's just a little bit more powerful, and it is the flattest cartridge in the world. Okay, the next one, recoil. This one's not as important to me, but it might be important to you. If you're that worried about recoil, probably want to get the 257 Weatherby, because to be honest, the power difference isn't that big of a difference. Then again, the recoil isn't either. They're closer than you would think. Big game cartridge. Now I know a lot of Weatherby fans have taken, elk and bigger with 257 Weatherby mag, and they certainly have been using the 6.5300 for some big game. So both are capable. Both are not my first choice. I would just like a larger diameter bullet. Obviously, they have plenty of horsepower to kill an animal. I just want a larger diameter bullet. So technically, I would say the 6.5300 is a little bit better as a big game cartridge because you can shoot up to 150 plus grain bullets. And what limits the 257 Weatherby is the 1 in 10 twist. So at this point, you're really only going to shoot 120 grain bullet. Hopefully that changes for the 257. Okay, let's go to cost. Both of these are popular rifles, so they're both offered in a Vanguard and a Mark V. But when it comes to factory ammo, I think the cost is going to be a little bit less in the 257 Weatherby because it just doesn't have as much powder. So I give a slight win to the 257 Weatherby. Lastly, versatility. I wouldn't call either of these cartridges really versatile, but the winner definitely is the 6.5300 Weatherby Magnum. Now, if it was me voting in this, I would for sure pick the 257 Weatherby. I have a 300 Weatherby mag, so I don't really have a need for the 6.5 300. I like the 6.5 300 a lot, but I like to diversify my cartridges. So if it was me, it'd be the 257 Weatherby. Please remember to comment below on which cartridge you want to see move on, and thanks for watching.